Welcome to Austin Career Connections. As you begin your career campaign, you will be working through a series of modules covering various aspects of the career transition process. We'll be starting with the behind-the-scenes work, including self-discovery, personal branding, and career transition process and methodology. Then we will move into preparing for the in-person parts of the campaign, such as networking, interviewing, and the part that gets most people excited, money talk and salary negotiation. Today you start Module 1 on self-discovery. This module is all about you. In it, you will be identifying skills and accomplishments. You will also be identifying potential job hunting liabilities that we will need to figure out how to address through the course of your campaign. As you work through this module, think not only about the value you bring to a company, but also about what you really want to do. The most satisfying careers occur at the intersection of skill and passion. In this module, you will be completing some assignments that will help us to put together your branding tools, such as resumes, social media profiles, etc. So let's get started. The first aspect of self-discovery is identifying your hard assets, or what we call functional skills. These are the skills that you will be using in your next role. In your packet, you'll find a worksheet with 9 pages of functional skills listed on it, broken down into 8 functional skills sets, including operations, research and development, sales and marketing, human resources, accounting and finance, administration, information systems, and legal. Your first task is to go through this worksheet and identify the type of experience that you have with each skill. Do you have management experience with it, hands-on experience with it, training, formal education? In some circumstances, you may have 4 checks in the blanks because you have a variety of experience with that particular skill. In others, you'll have nothing in the blanks because you don't even know what the skill is, and that's okay as well. So your first run through the 9-page list is just again to identify what type of experience you have with each skill. You really want to be thinking about then experience that you have, but then we also want to add the interest factor. If you look at the grid in front of you, the horizontal axis represents experience and competence. The vertical axis represents interest. Where we really want you to be in your next role is in that top left quadrant, doing something that you're good at and something that you really love. Unfortunately, by the time many people get to career transition, they're in that bottom left quadrant, the quadrant that we call the burnout quadrant. Maybe you're really, really good at something that you don't particularly like doing, but because you're so good at it, they keep giving you more and more and more of it to do, and you kind of want to beat your forehead against the wall. I often have clients in this quadrant tell me they feel like they keep getting sucked back into the same old thing, and that they're struggling to find something new to do. Now, for those of you who have a high sense of urgency and you need to get a job now to get some money coming in, it's okay to live in the burnout quadrant for a little while. But when you're looking for that career position, we really want you in that top left-hand quadrant. The top right-hand quadrant is about career change. Now, as you're sitting there thinking, oh boy, that's me, I want you to ask yourself a question. Are you really looking at career change, or are you looking at industry change? Because those are 2 very different things. With career change, maybe you've been a doctor, you're going to go be an attorney. With industry change, you're going to continue to use the same skill set that you've always used, but maybe you're using it in a different environment. In the bottom right-hand corner, you're not good at it, you don't like it, so shame on any company that would hire you to do it. The first time you go through the list, you're going to be making your check marks. But then I want you to go through that list a second time and really put the interest filter on it. Ask yourself, is this a skill that I really want to be doing in my next role? The goal then is to narrow this list down to your top 15 overall, not top 15 for each section, but top 15 overall assets. These will go at the very top of your resume so that a company will be able to immediately see what you bring to the table. Don't worry if you're not able to narrow it all the way to 15, because these assets will be changing each time you tailor a resume for a particular position. So at this time, please stop the recording. Go find the functional skills worksheet and work through that, and I'll see you back shortly. The next aspect of self-discovery are your soft assets. These are adjectives that describe who you are rather than what you do. Personality traits. These may be the characteristics that differentiate you from other candidates who may be going after the same position. If you think about it, if you and 3 other people are up for the same job, chances are you all have similar functional skills because by definition the company is looking for people who have done certain things. It's your soft assets, your personality, that may be the differentiator that gets a hiring manager to choose you over another candidate. In your packet, you will find a soft skills worksheet. On it, there are some adjectives, but obviously it doesn't cover every adjective on the planet. So take some time, look through that list. Feel free to add any more that you would like to add. What we need to see is a top 10 list of those personal characteristics that you think are what really drive you in your work. The next aspect of self-discovery are your accomplishments. This is also the part of self-discovery that most people find to be the most difficult. Why the struggle? I've had people tell me numerous things, first of all starting with bragging. We're all born taught not to brag, and so somehow talking about everything that we've done really well isn't in our comfort zone. But keep in mind that giving factual statements about what you've done is not the same as bragging. Bragging is more about tone than content. If you're not able to say what you've done in the past and the accomplishments that you've had, how can a future employer know what you might be able to do for them? So you need to try to let go of this idea of bragging. It's not about bragging, it's just giving facts. Second of all, I know that everyone has heard about the importance of quantifying what you do. And you do want to quantify when appropriate. But not every job that we have is measured in numbers and dollar signs and percentages. You have to think about how to represent your results in a way that's going to be appealing to the company. I often ask my clients to ask themselves the question, so what? When they've done something well, so what impact did it have on the company, on the team, on the customer, on the industry, on the product? And that statement, that impact statement, may be the result, and it may not be numerical. When you are quantifying something, you also have to keep in mind how to represent the numbers in a way that's going to be most effective for your audience or most appealing for your audience. In some cases, that may be the raw number. In other cases, it may be a percentage, or it may just be this statement of impact. But you want to be able to show results. What have you done that had an impact in your work? The next part with which people struggle is often this idea of, I'm just doing my job. There's no wow factor in what they've done. But keep in mind that each of us does something differently. Things that to you may seem mundane and part of your day-to-day job may indeed be wow factors to other people. Again, it's about results, not necessarily a wow factor. Sometimes people struggle to come up with enough. I'm going to ask you to write 15 of them to start with, but most of you will have 50 as you start to work through this process and your head starts going that way. One place where people often struggle to get enough of them is that they're stating their accomplishments as job duties rather than giving specific examples. If you have the ability to close multi-million-dollar deals, don't just tell me once that you can close multi-million-dollar deals. Give me 3 or 4 specific examples of when you have closed a multi-million-dollar deal. It's okay that they all sound a little bit alike because it means that you weren't a one-hit wonder. You were able to replicate these same sort of results across different settings. And finally, what we call the we syndrome. We have almost been brainwashed into the idea of teamwork. There is no I in team. I couldn't have done it without my team. Well, your team isn't interviewing with you. So you've got to be able to use the word I and be able to talk about your role on that team and why it was even important that you were on the team to begin with. Being able to give specific examples of accomplishments is extremely important, as these accomplishments are what differentiate you from other people. Other candidates pursuing the same types of positions as you are likely to have identical resumes in terms of general skills, because by default, the company is looking for people who have certain skills. But your accomplishments will be unique to you. No other candidate will have the exact same story to tell. And these stories are what may be the differentiating factors that get an employer or a hiring manager to choose you over another candidate. Things to think about as you write your accomplishment. Each accomplishment should represent one unique event in time with a beginning and end. You want to start everything with a past tense verb. There's no place on a resume for a complete sentence, and it pains me to say that, having been an English teacher 20 years ago. But everything starts with a past tense verb for what you did. You want to keep each one to 2 to 3 lines. Many employers, many recruiters will tell you that when they see big chunks of text, they just skip it. Unfortunately, they don't have the time to read that much. So keep it short, keep it succinct. And you want to focus on your actions and your results. Save the situation for an interview. You don't want to tell the whole story because then the employer has no need to call you in to learn more. You want to tell just enough to pique their interest to get them to call you in. So now at this time, please stop and complete the success story assignment. Again, I'd like to have 15 of these from you. There are examples in your module packet. Up until now, the assignments that you've been working on have told the story of all the wonderful things that you have done in your career. What skills do you have? What value do you bring? What accomplishments have you had in the past that suggest what you might be able to do for a company in the future? Well, there is the other side of the story, and those are the perceived job hunting liabilities. I call these the arbitrary weed-out factors, things like age, industry experience, gaps in employment, certain types of education and certifications, those things that make it really easy for an employer to put you in the no pile. In your packet, you will find a one-page list of all different kinds of job hunting liabilities. Please go through here and mark any that you think apply to you. It doesn't mean that you don't think that you can do the job. It means that you're concerned that an employer who is looking at your resume or who is looking at your background might eliminate you from consideration before you ever have the opportunity to share your side of the story. We will then look at these together and determine what's going to be a problem, what's not, and for those things that might be problematic, come up with a plan for how to mitigate any negative impact that these liabilities might have on your campaign moving forward. So at this time, please stop and complete the Perceived Job Hunting Liabilities worksheet. That wraps up the module on self-discovery. Our next module will be moving into creating your personal brand. This is where we get to take all of the information that you have put together during the self-discovery process and figure out how to put it together in documents and branding tools to effectively show employers what you bring to the table. See you at Module 2.